Hey guys, it's Chris from Wilson Acres. So today we're going to make a venison bone broth. The more I started butchering my own deer, it got more and more important to me that we keep all parts of the animal, bones included. How do we use these bones? We make a broth. Health benefits, and you can be used in so many different recipes. So last week, my wife Beth made a deer shank recipe, and she used the last of our broth. So it's time to restock the broth. I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to make broth that can last all through the season. It can be used in so many different ways, and it's actually pretty simple and pretty fun too. Here are the ingredients we're going to use in our stock today. 5 pounds of venison bones that I've cut into manageable sizes with my Sawzall. We got onions, parsnip, ginger, garlic, celery and carrots, leeks, bay leaves, parsley. Just a little bit of olive oil, peppercorn, thyme, and a high quality Himalayan pink salt. And we have some cheesecloth for straining when we're all done. Our next step is to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. I've got all my bones in a small roasting pan. What we're going to do is cut up our vegetables and add them in. The reason why you roast the bones and the vegetables is it helps bring out all the flavors and it soften up the marrow. You don't have to be pretty with cutting up your vegetables because it really doesn't matter. We're just going to dice them all up into good sized chunks. And one thing that I didn't mention is you will need some sort of acid. Some people use tomato paste, you can use white vinegar. I've chosen to use a little bit of apple cider vinegar. The reason for that is it breaks down the marrow and the bones and it just helps loosen that up for when we start to simmer. Another thing too is you don't want to add too much ginger. I just grabbed this ginger for a little bit of extra kick. Definitely don't use a whole root. Maybe a couple pieces about this size would be just fine. And I did also want to mention the reason why I use parsnips is any root vegetable that you use is just packed with minerals. It grabs its minerals right from the soil, and the more nutritious that we can make our stock, the better. Okay, next step, we're just going to drizzle some olive oil over our bones and our vegetables. Dump peppercorns all over your counter. Don't worry about that right now. We're going to put some peppercorns in there though. I just put in some apple cider vinegar for my acid to help break down the marrow. So basically we're going to roast this for 40 minutes. Put it into this big stock pot. That's when I'm going to incorporate a lot of my bay leaves, my parsley, and some other herbs and spices. You guys wouldn't believe the smell. It smells so good. So the next step, we're just going to dump it into the pot. All that stuff that's left at the bottom of the roasting pan, we're just going to put a little bit of water in there. Take a spatula, and this is the good stuff that we want. It adds tons of flavor. Make sure that we get all that. We'll clean that up a little bit more. Add it into our stock pot. Okay, so this is the time when we add our parsley. Doesn't need to be cut up. Bay leaves. I have a handful of peppercorns here. And we're gonna do pink salt. And we have thyme.
Lots of time.
Lots of thyme. No particular measurements. This stuff's gonna cook down so much. Alright, just enough water to cover up all the vegetables and bones. It's time to put a lid on it and let it simmer on low for about 20 hours. So this is a great thing to do when you have a bunch of projects to do around the house. Okay, so it's been 20 hours. So I've just taken it off the heat. Looking pretty dark and pretty rich. Okay, now that it's cooled off just a little and the pot is manageable, I've lined a colander with cheesecloth and placed it inside of a large bowl. And what we're going to do is just dump everything in there. Okay, so once this cools off, you're going to see a very distinct fat line that rises up to the top. So what we'll do is just skim that off.